I was thinking, I think last Tuesday at the men's group, it came at the breakfast, that I'm a newcomer. The people in our congregation, the people that I've grown to know and love, most of you guys have been spiritual or on the spiritual journey since 6th grade or something. It's amazing to me. Because I didn't start till I was 44 years old or so. Didn't have any. It's just amazing. I'm going to a silent retreat next week, a Jesuit retreat in Minnesota. And I told them, I said, I'm going there, and there's someone, I won't say who, said, oh, I did that when I was 18. I said, wait a minute. I thought it was a big deal. You'd gone to a Jesuit high school, and that was, I guess, the norm. It wasn't the norm when I was 18. I kind of want to start with a couple of prayers. My talk is about surrender and its sidekick, which is acceptance. But I wanted to start with a couple of prayers. And these are very popular. They're used by everyone in different venues. One of them is called the set-aside prayer. Does everybody know that or heard about it or stuff? Well, I have. I guess I have. I thought it was popular. It's called the set-aside prayer, and it goes, God, today help me set aside everything I think I know about me, everything I know about you, and everything I think I know about others, and everything I think I know about my own spirituality. So I may have an open mind and new experience with all these things. Please help me see the truth. That's how it ends. The truth. The idea being, in order to see the truth, I have to let go of everything I think is the truth. So I wanted to say that one, and then the older Assisi prayer. Everybody knows that, I'm sure. Oh, divine master, grant that I may not so much seek, and it goes on, things I'm not going to see. But I'm interested in the last 3 sentences, which are very similar. For it is by self-forgetting that one finds. It is by forgiving that one is forgiven. And it's by dying that one awakens to eternal life. These are all pretty common, probably have been going on forever, and they're all about surrender. And there's a whole bunch of other talks about surrender. That's what I mean, surrender and acceptance. They're not new things. Everybody talks about a little bit. So with that as a beginning, if I can find the beginning. We are really, I call it the after effect of a whole bunch of forebears that managed to have kids before they died. And that's about it. That was their gift to us. And that, of course, has been going on for hundreds of thousands of years. I think they keep changing how long our particular race has been going. The last I heard was like 50,000 years or something like that. But once it started, the reason we're here is people managed to live long enough to have kids. And this is not only true about us, it's every living thing. I mean, it's just the way it is. And some species, some have learned, have got it down, and they've had it down for a long, long time. And one of them I found was the horseshoe crab. Horseshoe crab hasn't changed in, a million years, I mean a long, long time. They found the answer, and it's never changed. So the horseshoe crab today is the same it was a million years ago. That's pretty cool. We haven't found the answer. So maybe we need some horseshoe crab blood, or I don't know what. But given that, when we think about our minds and just how we operate out there from day to day, minute to minute, and hour to hour, what's going on, what grabs our attention as we're going along? What frightens us? What brings relief? In general, how do we operate? What do we think is important? And I'm not talking when we sit down and think about it. I thought when we're ambling along, down in Tucson somewhere, taking a walk and going from moment to moment, what happens? Say that a more immediate form that our nervous systems tend to prefer, we're walking along and our unconscious is constantly protecting us and telling us, don't get hurt, don't die. That's the message. Don't get hurt, don't die. It's not very deep or unconscious. So all these things, and it works. I mean, we don't have to think about how to fall down. We don't have to think about do all these things. It's all done for us. It's really neat. The one thing I remember is if you get your thumb or you've got your finger on a hot stove, you're not sitting there, which way should I pull it? Should I go that way or should I go? That doesn't happen. Our unconscious takes care of us. Thank God. I mean, otherwise we'd be thinking about this stuff all the time. So that's how we work. That's how human being works, really. The subconscious takes care of all the minor stuff, like staying alive. And then that leaves our conscious to do something else. But the subtext of that is, I'm trying to remember. Now, I just a little bit more on what it is, because it explains why our conscious intentions are so humbling. Those things we say, like how many people have said, I'm never going to do that again. By the next week, I've done it 3 times. And then I'm busy rationalizing why I did it. I really meant to do it. If something comes up, then I'm rationalizing to do it. Or tomorrow I start. I'm start that athletic plan, that lose weight plan, and to start, it's going, yeah, it's going to be great. And 2 days later, tomorrow I'm going to start. It's going to just. So our conscious intentions don't work very well if they're not in line with the unconscious. And the unconscious intention is stay alive and have babies. On Earth, we've already had them, so our kids are having them. And we can't just announce to our unconscious, cut it out, stop doing that, because it's getting in the way. It had a very long time to practice. The one thing that I learned, the thing that unconscious grabs me with is fear. And I lived in that for a long time. Fear was not only in my unconscious, it was in my conscious. And I was kind of afraid of everything. I was afraid to move, I was afraid to go out, afraid to do anything. And my spiritual growth sort of took care of that. It's another story. And at the time I didn't realize that, well, of course I would be afraid because I'm getting told over and over, don't get hurt, don't die. So the natural reaction would be, I'm scared all the time. I'm not willing to let my unconscious take care of all that stuff. So we can't just announce, cut it out. I don't want to hear this crap anymore. Leave me alone. I want to meditate or do this or do something else. And in the base, our unconscious is doing a good job because I'm alive. Here I am. But this is where prayer and meditation come in. For me, this is kind of the first way it came in. Prayer and meditation are not simply another way to control. Not another way to force us into submission. Not a way to make it happen, make world peace, do this, make me happier, or make me sadder, or make me whatever. Not in control. It's not about control. They're essentially ways to become quiet enough to notice something else. Unity has this saying, which I really love, thoughts held in mind produce kind. And I've learned it's really true. I know it's true with me. Because it was something happened, I go back, oh yeah, I was thinking about it all the time. So of course it was going to happen, whatever it was. So prayer and meditation, to me, are a way of training our subconscious. Because one of the ways our subconscious learns, it's kind of a minor way, one of the ways is listening to the conscious. It takes in what the conscious is saying. Out of all the stuff that's happening, it's probably number 10 on the list that the unconscious is working with. The unconscious is mostly working with senses. What do we see, what we hear, what we feel, all comes in, and the unconscious works with that first. And it gets the body going on what it should do, if anything. And then it tells the conscious. So our conscious is really the last thing to know what we're doing. And the prayer and meditation is a way of training, we're talking psychologically, of training the subconscious. So anytime we are praying, whatever the prayer is, when we're reaching to that connection, we're training our subconscious, among other things. And that got me praying a lot more. Because I didn't think I needed a great prayer anymore. I mean, when I used to pray, I'd say, okay, I'm going to sit down. This is going to be terrific. And I sit down, and then like a little muskrat comes, or a mouse or something. And all of a sudden, my prayer life's gone. And now I take prayer not so seriously in the time I'm praying, but very seriously in what it is in my life, because I'm training my subconscious. And as I learned, that prayer became much bigger and bigger. But that's how I got into it. I had a person, it's actually a Jesuit priest, was telling me about this stuff. Every time we pray, or even think of praying, we're changing. We're changing our subconscious. We're changing who we are. Just anytime we reach out for connection like that, it doesn't have to be great. It doesn't have to be the best prayer in the world. So that was just like a miracle for me to learn that was going on. So they invite us, we're being invited through prayer and meditation into spiritual surrender. I'll talk about it a little more in a minute. And not surrender as defeat. Right. It's not about defeat. But there's sort of surrender, there's that inner voice which is unconscious. Be careful. Watch out. Don't make a mistake. All this, to surrender that little voice. Surrender to that little voice that believes it must manage everything, and it actually believes it can. That's the voice that comes out in me. Someone's angry. I gotta control that person, make them less angry. Someone's joyful, I gotta control that person, make them spread it around. I'm always about controlling, handling it. I gotta handle things. There's so many things that we are automatically doing, and most of it's good. I'm still alive, so the unconscious is working. But a lot of it is blocking, and that's a term we use in AA. Anytime I am in the mode of making things happen, control that, make that happen, do that, I'm blocked from the Spirit. I'm not listening to the Spirit. So we're trying to surrender, I've got this quote, to the small, anxious self that believes it must manage everything alone. That's the voice in us. Unconscious thinks we're alone and we got to do it. Our safety's up to us. And when we live in prayer, and it's one thing to pray, it's one thing to meditate, it's another thing to live in prayer and to live in meditation. Not quieting down, not sitting and meditating, not sitting and praying, but having as our basic result of our going around is prayer, not control. And prayer can be simple, coming from love. I want to come from love, which is the Spirit to me. So my first instinct when something happens is I love them. I'm the lover. When bad happens, I love them. I love them. Coming from love instead of fear. I gotta control this or I'm gonna die and not have kids. It's sort of deal. Oh, I'm not gonna have any anyway. That way of living is in there. That's built into us. So we learn we are not isolated creatures struggling to survive. The unconscious thinks that. We're not that. We are expressions of the one presence, the one life, God expressing in me and in all of us. And we're not alone. I love the analogy, is that the right word? Of the ocean with the ripple. I love that analogy. It's the one that makes sense to me. The ocean is the spirit. The ocean is God. And I'm a ripple. Sometimes I'm a wave, but mostly I'm a ripple. And it's wonderful to be a ripple, to be part of the love, part of the caring. So the question begins, not how do I make myself behave? How do I make them behave? How do I make everything behave? And how do I get what I want? That's not the question we start living in. The question is, how do I make myself available to the divine life? Let's put that pretty. How do I make myself available to the Spirit? It's not like I have an answer right away, but that's a better question than how do I survive? We're sort of living in the question. And our unconscious has us living in the question, don't die and have kids, which is fear. And even after we've had kids, we're not going to have any kids. We're still living that way because that's how our unconscious lives. How do I become available? How do I become available to the divine life? And that which I know is already moving within me. It's already there. And I use the term blocked. It's blocked. It's covered by all my other thoughts of what I'm supposed to be doing. Spiritual surrender, spiritual letting go. So when I meditate, in truth, I like to think I'm living in prayer. I'm living in meditation. I'm living in the question, how am I with my higher power now? How am I part of the God? How am I part of love? Trying to live that way all the time. Do I do it? No. Not even close. I'm getting to catch myself pretty close every so often. And the reward for it, it's got to be a reward or we're not going to do it much, is living in joy, is living in peace, no matter what happens. I wanted to go back because way back in the middle of my talk, I was talking about living in fear. That was my way to live. And if there wasn't anything to be afraid of, I made up something to be afraid of. In dreams, in just what I'm thinking. It's got to be something to be afraid of because that's how I live. That's the purpose of my life, taking care of fear. A thing happened to me, I'm like 44, and this story is in our award-winning book back there that we wrote. I wrote down the story, so I can't remember the name of the book. A thing came about that I was absolutely terrified. Every time I thought of it, I was almost shaking in fear. And for some reason, I had to do it. It's a long story. It's in the book if you want to read it. But some reason I had to do it. And I sat down and I did it. And what happened was joy. It was life opening up to me. Things that I never, ever would have thought of, that never would have happened to me because I stepped into the fear. And it made a huge impression on me. And I've kind of been doing it ever since. So I guess some people call it resistance. Where there's resistance, I want to step into it because I have just learned that the rewards are tremendous when you do that. I had the thing. It's a couple. I can give a couple of examples. One of them is trying to meditate, and then they talked about this energy work stuff. I said, I don't believe in that. That sounds like junk. until being who I was, as soon as I say that, I know I'm going to do it. Because anything I resist like that, I know that's where to go. And sure enough, the absolute miracles happened. My friend Pascuzzi over here that works with me, energy work, unbelievable. And I call it the joy, but it's more than joy, it's the connection. To really, when you meditate, really get connected to that spirit, at least when I do, it's just unbelievable. The joy, the fulfillment, the lack of will, the just being that's possible. Now, I wish I could live like that, but I don't. So that's that. So it's surrender is huge to me, and finding what I have resistance to is huge to me, because I know that's where the answer is. And that's really my message here today. And this idea of thoughts held in mind. If I'm walking along and start praying just little prayers, prayer of gratefulness, boy, what a beautiful morning. Thank you, Spirit, for here I am. That's prayer. That's good enough. The little prayers. It's just saying them a lot, being in that thing. It's been a miracle to me. Now, I could talk about a lot of where I came from, but where I came from was a street drunk. I was a bad, bad alcoholic, almost ready to die. And then people, that's a whole other story. So I came out of that and started, we call it recover, in 1982, but I didn't really get any spiritual thing till 1984. And some other things, this one thing happened that is in the book back there, and some other things happened that got me believing. And that was the beginning. I wish it happened when I was 18, but it didn't. So here I am. I look out on you guys, just so full of love and joy. It's just unbelievable. Thank you.